JJ Joe joins us, Sic'Em 365 Radio, 365 Sports. There's a lot to get to and uncover. Baylor, Brigham Young, the game against Albany, what you saw from Blake Shapen, Hall, the quarterback at Brigham Young. But, JJ, any thoughts about Guy Morris and his time at Baylor and what you remember most about him?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Smoke. When I started, I think that was Guy Morris's third or fourth year. So when I started calling, he was the coach. And, I wish he got more credit. I mean, he got Baylor, took Baylor from what I would call the abyss to at least being competitive. He recruited a little bit of talent that Art Browse kind of built on his crew when they got here. So, condolences to his family. But, I always thought he was a fantastic coach, great, upstanding man. And I know that family is mourning today.
JJ, we saw about what we expected to see against Albany, but there were some things we didn't know, like how are these skill position players going to gel on offense, and it looks like so far so good on all these guys.
It really did. I mean, I figured they would have an opportunity to put up a few numbers, and in the passing game, Blake was sharp. I really liked what I saw from him. And I could tell that him and Monterey Baldwin have spent a lot of time in the summer together. He looked for him probably a little bit too much, but, that's okay. He's trying to establish what I would call game rapport with him. And Monterey did a great job with touches that he was given, shaping, 17 to 20, couple bills, touchdowns, and just played one series in the third quarter. So that's good. But, it's good to see Monterey play well. It was good to see some of the young guys get a little action out there on that edge, too. Hal had a few catches. Seth had some catches. So I'll tell you what, they got a little bit of what they needed because, coming up, going to Pro Bowl is going to be a tough one.
JJ, how was your baseball slide when you were playing quarterback?
Oh, hey, not good. You got to remember, Craig, I ran the option. So sliding was like,
yeah, that's right.
Sliding was kind of like if I went and slid, it would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But Shapen has to, he has to figure out that, look, man, we have a guy who hasn't really played in any high leverage situations behind you. You just got to get down. You're not built for that. Very few quarterbacks are, and you just don't want to take them shots.
So he was sharp and efficient, but there are some throws against Albany that you can't do Saturday in Provo, correct?
Yeah, Dave. It's the first game. This is only his, third full start, I think it was his third start. Mm-hmm. So he was he's still learning. And he got away with a few things. And I'm sure they looked at those yesterday, Sunday, after the game, and they moved on. But not yesterday, that's 2 days ago. That holiday's messing me up. But in any case, I think he'll learn from those. He'll watch that BYU tape from from last year. And I think he'll be much sharper. I think also they'll roll out a little bit more. I could tell they were limited because they ran that doggone bootleg throwback like 8 times. And I know they got more in the playbook than that.
JJ, the defense up front was really, really good and deep. They've got a challenge this week with BYU. What do you expect to see differently with the way that they'll have to attack BYU than what they really had to do against Albany this week?
Well, you got to figure BYU will change up a few things. Last year, if you remember, we really held Algiers and their running game down. We made a commitment to not letting them run the ball, and that's kind of why they went off a little bit on us through the air. But I like the way our guys played. I think I wrote for Sic'Em 365 today. I like the energy. I like if you just watch them, man. They're rolling out. You have Chidi Obanaya, and he's like 3 deep, right? And he's a Power 5 body. We just have so many guys, and you're going to need them this week because the altitude. If you've ever played at altitude, that first quarter and a half, man, is rough. So he's going to have to rotate those big bodies. But I did like the energy, and I like what I see. And they're going to go against a really good offensive line. So those guys got to be ready to go.
Jay, I think everybody's kind of knowledgeable enough to not take too much away from this very first game, right? We'll learn so much more like we're kind of hinting at coming up this weekend. But for a fourth quarter and a true freshman to go grab a couple of touchdowns when he had the opportunity, what'd you think of what you saw from Richard Reese running the football?
Oh, man, I liked it. Reese, he wanted to bounce a little bit more than you should. because he has that speed. So it was really good to see him run. I thought in the first half, Tay was playing a little bit, I think, just kind of feeling his way, trying to learn, hey, how do I run in game speed action? But Tay kind of really picked it up. They brought in Quaylon Jones, I think, to start that second half. And Quaylon was making a cut, and he was going, playing physical. So, but it was good to see, Richard Reese. And I mean, man, I guess I don't know if he goes by Dick Reese or not. I just saw Coach, I think it was Mateos's. One of them made a tweet, the unveiling of Dick Reese or something. But I mean, I really liked what I saw from him. I think he's going to be a great addition when you throw him and Squirrel together, and that speed they bring and the power of, Tay has speed too, but Tay and Quaylon, man, that's a good quadruplets there.
JJ, go back to playing at altitude in that first quarter, whatever it might be. Can you try? Is it as if your lungs are frozen? Is it because you just can't get a breath? What's that like?
Yeah, if I'm him, and I think they get up there on Friday, I would put the guys through a workout just to let them see what it is. I mean, you don't want to tax them, but you got to put them through something. That's what Coach Tapp did with us. We went to Boulder twice while I was there, and you just got to go through some activity on Friday. But what it is you just can't get a deep breath early. Your body, these guys are highly tuned athletes, so about the second half they'll get there. But, that first half and trying to get a breath, you just can't take a deep breath. It's like, you take that deep breath and you can't get it there because the air is just that much more thin. And so you feel like you're more tired, you get fatigued a little bit quicker, and it takes you a little bit longer to recover, right? So you're going to have to rotate a lot of guys, and I would take them up there Friday and move them around. You got to move them around Friday a couple times just to let them see what it's like in that environment.
In the limited time we saw Kyron Drones, did you see a young man who's starting to mature at that position?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like Kyron, and I thought he looked better. I came to the spring game, and I saw him in the spring game, and it's tough in the spring game because you're going against the same guys. They know exactly what you're going to do. You're not going to show much in the spring game. But I thought he looked more comfortable. Of course, now he was going against Albany, which is a little overmatched, but still he looked a little bit more comfortable. He showed the arm strength up the seam. I forgot who was that, who caught that ball. He showed the willingness to run, and he's not a small guy. But that's what it's good. You wanted to get him a little time because, we saw Blake take a hit. And I didn't actually see the hit. It was kind of that blindside hit, but I thought maybe he'd start warming up then. So I really like what I see from Kyron. I think, he's already grown a lot since the spring.
Jaron Hall, Brigham Young, obviously a really, really talented. Of course, Brigham Young in their history that most people know about, but he was good last year. Of course, Baylor popped that thing open, but your thoughts about how good he can be?
I was watching some of the highlights from South Florida. I haven't been able to watch the game yet, but I'll tell you, he played well against us. He had a good year last year, and he can spin it. He is an intelligent quarterback. Can move a little bit. But he's gonna try to get that ball out of his hand. So he's gonna, if he has guys open, he's not going to miss them that often. And so when you're playing against a guy, you're going from, University of Albany, a young quarterback who had just transferred from ODU. Now you're going to a Jaron Hall. That young secondary. This is kind of one of the things I wrote today. Snacks has to be ready. Mark Milton has to be ready. A.J. McCarty, all those corners and those safeties, they need Christian Morgan. Oh, good God willing, he's healthy. He wants some experience at that safety position because he's going to test those guys, and they got to be ready to step up, man, because it's going to be a huge test.
J.J. Joe, former Baylor quarterback and also broadcaster, color analyst on Baylor Radio with us on Sic'Em 365 Radio. One more thing. Of course, they just had Albany. They were expecting to roll Texas State next week. They should be fine. And then they hit the meat of the conference schedule. How much of a jolt does this give them? They played Brigham Young last year, midway or just past the midway point. How much of a jolt would a win in Provo give this team?
I think it'd be huge. I'm trying to think back to last year. These guys are champs already. They know that experience, most of them, what it is to be a champ. So they have this what I would call silent confidence, not arrogance, but confidence. I think that's instilled in them. But every year is different. So when you go to Provo against a team that just put a 50 spot on USF or whatever that was, and you go beat them, right, in their stadium, going against their crowd and all the elements, and you beat them. It gives you what I call this. I don't want to call it an air of invincibility because you know you could be beat, but now you feel like, okay, we're ready, right? Hey, it's us now. We're ready. This year's team is ready, and it can put you on a run. It can put you on a run that you look up and you've knocked off 4 or 5 of them in a row, and now you're in the meat of that conference schedule with the ability to do special things. So it's going to be huge because if you lose this one, it's not the end of the world, but you lose a little bit of that confidence. I can't explain what it is. I've been a part of a team that was rolling, man. We won in an environment like this, in the altitude against Colorado. Man, boom, we took off, and then we stumbled. And when you stumble, you lose. I wish I could tell you what it is, but you lose a little something. And when you lose that little something, all of a sudden the plays you were making by the skin of your chinny chin chin, you're missing them by the skin of your chinny chin chin. So this will be a huge game.
Thank you, JJ. As always, we appreciate your time every week, and enjoy the broadcast Provo Saturday evening, Saturday night here, Saturday evening in Provo.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, JJ Joe. 9:15 Central kickoff. So our pregame